Hi, I'm Abby, and I'm going to be talking to y'all about a disease called juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Some of you may know, but the majority of you probably don't know that I have this disease. It's also known as polyarticular juvenile idiopathic arthritis, which basically means it has no defined cause and it affects more than 5 joints. I know when you hear arthritis, you probably think of some old lady trying to open a jar for about 20 minutes with a lot of difficulty and pain, but I'm about to challenge you to think of a 17-year-old doing the same thing. You probably see that taking about 2 seconds, and then the 17-year-old handing the jar back to the old lady that couldn't open it in the first place. Well, when the 17-year-old has JRA, the tables turn a little bit. JRA is a chronic progressive disease which causes inflammation and immobility, mostly in the fingers, wrists, feet, and ankles. It's the most common type of juvenile arthritis in children under the age of 17, and it affects about 300,000 children in the U.S. every day. It's also an autoimmune disease, which basically means the body mistakes some of its own makeup as the enemy and attacks its own healthy cells and tissue. A major part of having arthritis is dealing with the symptoms like inflammation, which causes redness, soreness, swelling, and warmth of the joints. Any and all joints can be affected, and in my case, most of them are. In the usual first appointment with a rheumatologist, they check you out and mark on a sheet of paper what joints are affected, but in my case, it was easier for them to write down the ones that aren't affected because there's only about 3 in my fingers. This brings me into my story, if you would. In the 5th grade, I went on a trip to Disney World with my family and some family friends, and after about a day or two, it began to be really painful to walk, and eventually I couldn't even walk across the hotel floor barefoot. I ended up having my mom push me around in a wheelchair for the rest of the trip, and of course, one of my best friends and vacation buddies found the positives in all of this and was excited to squeeze into that wheelchair with me and have my mom push us both around. And at the time, she was in a boot, so we were quite the pair rolling around. Coming home was a little less exciting because my neck stiffened up and my jaw locked up, so I was unable to eat. But I definitely did not waste the Blue Bell that my mom got me at the airport, so I at least tried to get that down. This lasted about 7 weeks. So my diet basically consisted of Ensure, Pediasure, and Chick-fil-A milkshakes. While it seems like Chick-fil-A milkshakes every day might make me gain weight, I was unable to eat anything of actual protein, so I ended up losing 20 pounds and weighing about 60 pounds. I ended up being pretty much bedridden and couldn't go to school until I got treatment, but luckily the school I was at the time was very understanding of all of this. My parents had sought help from family members, coworkers, and even my pediatrician, but no one could really tell us what was wrong. After about 2 months of waiting, we got an appointment at Scottish Rite Children's Hospital in Dallas, and they immediately knew it was wrong and put me in a room with a rheumatologist because I have juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and all of a sudden it had decided to flare up. Most of the time, kids that have JRA won't know for a while because it's hard to diagnose without proof of swelling or inflammation. And in my case, I had to wait those 2 months because my pediatrician thought it was all in my head because nothing was swollen. So once my knees swelled up, I got to go to the doctor. My doctors believe that the pressure and weather conditions in Florida at that time was just perfect to make mine flare up. At my first appointment, they showed my mom how to give me my shots and began treatment by giving me these really big shots in my knees. My weekly treatment now, like a lot of kids I know with arthritis, is 3 shots a week and a couple pills a night, which is way better than the medicine I was first given that first appointment, which was this horrible liquid medicine with pineapple flavoring. It was pretty bad. But somehow I powered through drinking that every night, and now I get to take other medicine less detrimental to my taste buds. My doctors definitely love staying connected, and one way we stay connected is through Camp John Mark. Camp John Mark is a nonprofit camp that runs during the summer, and each week is dedicated to a different disease. Obviously, I went to Camp JRA. I'm too old now to go, but when I turn 18, I'll be able to volunteer. It's out in Boss County, Texas, on a large plot of land, so they have room for a lot of activities like pottery, horseback riding, and rope courses. My overall favorite was horseback riding, but mostly because, luckily for me and unluckily for my horse, I was paired with the best horse that liked to listen, so I was really good at musical stalls. Overall, my favorite really was making new friends and meeting new people that understood the little and big dilemmas that I went through every day, like playing sports and even opening water bottles. But thankfully, Marcel and Brielle know the drill, so every day at lunch, they put their hands out so they can open my water bottles. It isn't always little dilemmas, and it is really hard to stay active, but I've always loved staying active, and volleyball has always been my favorite sport, so I wasn't going to let some silly joint pain stop me from playing. Sometimes it doesn't feel so silly when I haven't gotten my shots for a week or two, but it's a lot easier to get through any shoulder or knee pain when I know my coach and my team believes in me. My doctors definitely love that I stay active, but tell me this form of arthritis is very tricky. So it probably won't ever completely go away, but with the medicine I've been given and the support of my family and friends, I know I can manage doing what I need to do to make life easier a day at a time. Thank you.